a shot of winning. Can't beat anybody in the world, and I think we're going to win next Sunday.
And welcome back to the New York Jets Atlantic Flight podcast. It has been the last week of the 2026 OTAs, the organised team activities, out of Florham Park. And let me tell you this, the atmosphere at One Jets Drive feels completely different than it did this time last year. There are no distracting late night TV storylines. There are no dramatic contract hold-ups. There are no zero unexcused trips across the world to Egypt. It's pure, unadulterated football this year, and Coach Glenn has had a massive fire lit under him entering this crucial second year, and you can see that in the urgency reflected in every drill. I will say this though, he's had a massive fire lit underneath him. I think everyone's playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Has he really got a fire lit under him? Probably. If he doesn't win more than 3 games, he's gone. If he doesn't win more than 4 games, he's gone. If he doesn't win more than 5 games, he's very likely gone. And if he doesn't win more than 6 games, he's likely gone. But let's look at it this way. This is what I'm a glass half full guy. If he did win 6 games and we lost, say, 3 or 4, 5 games to teams, good teams, because I believe our strength of schedule is harder than it was last year, despite what people are saying in the media. They're saying it's an easier schedule. I don't believe that. But if we lose some of those games by a point or 3 or 4 points, but it's in the dying seconds of a game and we've been in those games and clearly the team has made progress with the staff and with the players, do you really think that Woody is going to fire him? Because there'll be people in his ear saying, well, you know, maybe the record isn't telling the whole story here, because your team, the New York Jets, they are making progress. And what happens? You fire a coach, all the coaching staff, they go as well. They get the next lot coming in and they want to implement a completely different scheme, and all of a sudden you've got more players on the move again. And we all know how that works. Fair enough, in 2027 we've got a plethora of first round picks, so it would be an attractive situation. But you need stability. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent like I normally do. Let's get back to the OTAs. The team wrapped up the final 3 practices this week, giving us a major glimpse in how the roster is shaping up before the mandatory minicamp kicks off next week. But, again, the overarching theme of the week, massive size and relentless trench warfare. Coach Glenn and Darren Muji have clearly aligned on philosophy, and they call it Mass Kicks Ass. Yeah, Mass Kicks Ass. And they have fundamentally rebuilt this roster out to muscle out the AFC East. So today, I'm breaking down everything that went down in the final week of the OTAs. And I'll take a deep dive and comprehensive look at the rookie report card, examine the brutal battles taking place at both the offensive and defensive lines, and analyse how brand new coaching additions are already altering the team's competitive identity. So let's get right into it. So let's kick things off with the new blood, shall we? The 2026 NFL draft class. The Jets held 3 first round picks this year, as you know, meaning the expectations are sky high. Obviously, the biggest question on everyone's mind revolves around our number 16 selection, Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq, the freak. As we reported earlier, Sadiq is already strictly sidelined while recovering from a minor off-season hernia surgery. And the reason why he's had this surgery now is because I think they were actually trying to hope it was going to clear itself up without surgery, but it wasn't to be. So that's why he's had the surgery. But we got an incredibly encouraging sign during Wednesday's open media session. Sadiq was spotted working extensively on his own on the far side of the practice field, executing sharp running routines and heavy agility drills. He did look explosive in the rehab. He's running with 0 noticeable hitch, and a senior NFL insider, Adam Schefter, shared a critical update on the rookie team status from head coach Glenn. He said, and I quote, "Jets rookie tight end Kenyon Sadiq underwent a hernia procedure and Aaron Glenn said he expects him to be ready for training camp. That's all we want to know. Is he going to be ready for training camp? So he is, and that's great news. We are going to see a really, really good training camp. I can't wait for this. But the staff is just being overly cautious. They expect Sadiq to be 100% full participant when training camp opens in late July. In the meantime, sophomore tight end Mason Taylor has been absolutely dominating first team reps. Is this guy going to have a breakout season? I think he probably is. Taylor had 44 grabs as a rookie last year, and offensive coordinator Frank Reich is already drawing up heavy 12 personnel packages to pair Taylor's classic inline blocking with Sadiq's wild 4.39 slot speed once camp starts. That is just going to be so exciting to watch as well, isn't it? So while Sadiq builds his strength back, our other first team rounders are putting on an absolute show, including our edge rusher, David Bailey. The number 2 overall pick looks exactly like the alpha pass rusher he was advertised to be. He spent the week terrorising the backfield and showed off a spin move during Thursday's 3rd and long drills that left a lot of the onlookers that were there breathless. On the other side of the ball, our 30th overall pick, wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver out of Indiana, he's rapidly climbing the depth chart as well. With his big frame and high pointing capability, Cooper has caught multiple deep balls from Geno Smith over this last week, proving also that he can be a legitimate vertical threat alongside Garrett Wilson and AD Mitchell. But don't sleep on mid-round rookies either. Quarterback Kay Klubnik, who came in with plenty of intrigue and a phenomenal bounce-back performance on Thursday after missing a bit of time earlier in workouts. Klubnik was incredibly sharp, executing complex play-action designs and hitting fellow rookie targets across the middle of the field. Glenn also noted before the practice that the backup quarterback spot behind Geno Smith is a wide-open competition. Glenn told reporters, and I quote, "We want to see who commands the huddle when the lights get bright. Geno is our guy, but that number 2 spot is earned, not given. And Cade is pushing the room." So if Klubnik keeps throwing with that anticipation, he is going to lock down that QB2 role quite easily. When you look at the competition, it's not that good. Bailey Zappi and Brady Cook. I can't do an episode without mentioning the O-line and the D-line that have been clashing all week. So let's move on to the absolute trenches, because the battle between the offensive line and the defensive line this week was nothing short of a heavyweight prize fight. So let's start with the big men up front on offense. For the first time since 2012, I believe, the Jets are returning 4 out of the 5 starters on the offensive line. That continuity is massive. And I think the phrase, "you are as strong as your weakest link," is never truer for the offensive line. They helped pave the way for a top 10 rushing attack last season, and they even look tighter now. The real story, though, is how our young bookend tackles, Fashanu and Membu, are gelling. It's just incredible. They are absolutely inseparable. After OTAs this week wrapped, the media noticed they were clearing out, but Fashanu and Membu stayed out on the grass entirely alone. They spent an extra 20 minutes strictly working on their footwork, synchronicity and mirror pass sets. O-line coach Steve Hayden praised their work ethic and during his Thursday pressure, and I quote, "You can't coach that level of chemistry. Olu and Armand are staying late every single day, perfecting their hand replacement." When your young tackles are the hardest workers in the building, the whole room elevates. And that's so true. They provided an incredibly clean pocket for Geno Smith all week, allowing him to build timing with AD Mitchell and Garrett Wilson. But they're going to need that work, the tackles and the O-line, because the defensive line is a literal wall of humanity right now. As part of the mass kicks ass philosophy, the Jets went out and traded, if you remember, for defensive tackle Devondre Sweat, who is tipping the scales a staggering 366 pounds. What size jersey does this guy wear? No one's told me yet. I keep asking. I'm just curious. I don't want one because I just won't fit. Mind you, the way I'm going on, I might soon be fitting that kind of thing. I need to go on the diet. But when you pair Sweat with David Onyemata on the interior, plus rookie defensive lineman coming in over 310 pounds, it's impossible to run up the middle. The Jets are locks to carry at least 5 defensive linemen on the roster who'll belong to the £300 club. But it completely changes how linebackers play too, because Sweat and Onyemata command double teams on every snap. Veteran Harrison Phillips, who the Jets have anchored inside, is freeing up space for the second level linebackers like Jamie Sherwood and Demario Davis. And they're flying around to the football and they are taking on the interior guards on every snap. Defensive line coach Carl Dunbar was ecstatic about this development, telling the media, and I quote, "We want to build a concrete wall up front. If teams want to run the ball in the AFC East, they are going to have to go through 1,000 pounds of human muscle first. So, good luck." Nice one, Carl Dunbar. Just love Carl Dunbar. He's a quote machine, isn't he? But let's pivot now to the coaching staff, because the schematic changes introduced this week are incredibly fascinating. With Frank Reich taking over as offensive coordinator, the playbook is completely modernised. But it's the hire that everyone in New Jersey now is talking about is the new passing game coordinator, Seth Ryan. Yep, we've mentioned this before. He is the son of legendary Jets head coach Rex Ryan and, again, another legend, grandson of Buddy Ryan, who incidentally was a coach on the Jets when they won the Super Bowl. He actually grew up running around these exact practice fields as a 16-year-old boy when his dad was leading the Jets to consecutive AFC championships. And I'm getting old. I actually remember that time as well. I thought to myself at the time, I wonder if this guy will follow in his granddad's footsteps and his dad's footsteps. And yep, here he is. So there he is, Seth Ryan. But talk about poetic homecoming. Ryan spoke to the media on Wednesday and he actually got emotional, saying how much this organisation means to his family legacy. But visually, what he's doing on the field is even better. Ryan came over from Detroit and he's implementing that lightning fast, quick passing game that made the Lions so deadly. He and Frank Reich complement each other flawlessly, old and young and all the rest of it. But Reich brings that classic heavy personnel downfield play action, while Ryan is installing high percentage, quick outs, screen variants and short mesh concept designed to get the ball out of Geno Smith's hands in under, 2.3 seconds. Frank Reich, he summarised their dynamic to the media on Friday, and I quote, "Seth brings a brilliant modern perspective on spatial distribution in the quick game. My background is deeply rooted in intermediate and deep play action timing. Merging those two philosophies gives Geno answers against every defensive coverage imaginable." So that gives you some insight onto what's going to happen. It's also completely changing how our running backs are used as well. You've seen the pictures, it's all over social media. Braylon Allen, our powerhouse running back, spoke to us this week after practice and dropped a total bombshell. So if you were wondering how he got to look like that, he spent the entire off-season rehabbing from the injury he had last year, and he used that time to turn himself into an absolute tank. He revealed he's now up to 250 pounds of pure lean muscle mass, with the lowest body fat percentage of his life. With Frank Reich's new blocking schemes, a 250 pound Braylon Allen running behind Fashanu and Membu is going to wear defensive down by the third quarter. Reich's offense is putting on a premium on pure power, and the team is already hinting at major stylistic adjustments to feature a heavy ground and pound identity this fall. It's going to be interesting to see who is going to be that guy that gets the short yardage. My gut feeling is we're going to use Braylon Allen a bit like Henry. He's not with the Titans anymore, is he? But I think that's where they're predominantly going to use him. I don't think he's going to go outside of the tackles. But that said, he's catching balls out of the backfield as well. I think this is going to be Breece's year. I think Breece is going to be the ball carrier. Isaiah Davis showed us what he could do the back end of last year as well, as we've seen. But it's going to be a huge, huge year for Braylon Allen. It really is. To wrap things up, the final week of OTAs gave us exactly what we wanted to see. A highly disciplined, incredibly physical football team that has completely embraced its new identity. The offense is displaying a brand of fast, mistake-free execution under Reich and Ryan. But while the defensive front under Carl Dunbar is utilising overwhelming mass to suffocate the run game. Before I close this out, I need to address there's a major roster correction regarding our special teams unit. There were some early rumours floating around about veteran league kickers, but let's clear the air. Cade York is now the primary name to watch in the Jets kicking room this summer. The Jets signed him. He's a former LSU standout in free agency back in March, and he's been flashing that monstrous leg power that he's had, and he's tied franchise records during his previous stops. Special teams coordinator Chris Banjo has been working closely with York to dial in his accuracy. Banjo noted earlier in the week, and I quote, "Cade has an elite rare leg talent. Our entire focus right now is consistency and rhythm with the operation. If he locks that in, he has a top 5 kicker potential." So that's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, we know what Chris Banjo can do. So if he can turn Cade York, who I really didn't think was going to be the guy, but he's starting to turn heads with Chris Banjo, you never know. You never know. The next crucial steps comes this Tuesday and Thursday with mandatory minicamp. That will be the final time the team takes to the field together before breaking for the summer. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Kenyon Sadiq's continued rehab progression on the sideline. The developing battle for the backup quarterback spot, and how Cade York handles the wind that is going to be expected at MetLife Stadium. It has been incredibly windy in Florham Park. That's all the time I've got for this week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave a 5-star review if you will, and let me know in the comments how you think the rookies looked during the spring workouts. But until next time, as always, go Jets.
Y'all know what to say. On 3. 1, 2, 3.